is the Supreme Court rejects Trump's team's request to throw out Pennsylvania. Is this thing, because they've been saying Supreme Court, and I've been a little nervous. I'm like, what do they know? What do they have with their sleeve that we don't know about? And somebody even said, remember, that's why they appointed Amy Coney Barrett. But is this it? I mean, there's nothing else. What else can there be?
It's been it for a while now, right? I mean, this is. I've been really trying to figure out what the heck the game is here. So a couple of things. One, right, is clearly he's running again in 2024. He thinks he's running again. He might be dead. He might be in prison. Who knows, right? You know, he's so unhealthy and older. So there's a lot could happen between now and 4 years. But he thinks he's running again. So this is a way to keep people motivated. You know, he can claim he kept fighting for them. You can have that fiction. So there is a lot of this that's performative. Then the fact that they've raised over $200 million in 4 weeks? In 4 weeks, sort of shows that the grift is strong. Trump has a $400 million bill coming due in 2 years. Does anybody think that he just won't steal that from his campaign funds and the RNC if he wants to? I mean, clearly he's going to do what he wants to do. I mean, heck, his supporters may pay it. He may raise that money out of his dumbasses. You know, he might grift it. So the grift is strong. And the second he concedes, that money's cut off. So clearly there's a performative component to this. And we all know that if nothing else, Trump knows how to perform. I mean, that is his superpower. So for a while I thought, because the lawsuits weren't real lawsuits. I mean, they're laughably idiotic. And so a lot of it seemed like, okay, he's just going through the motions, because what ends up happening, they file and I've been watching right-wing media. They'll file the lawsuit. The filing will get a ton of attention, but then they ignore it when it gets thrown out a couple of days later. Mm-hmm. So if you're consuming conservative media, you think that it's just like lawsuit, you know, Jenna Ellis is releasing the Kraken. They're not really tracking the fact that they're all getting thrown out almost immediately. And in fact, I went to Breitbart this morning. I didn't even see news about the Supreme Court tossing out the case in Pennsylvania. So now they may later, who knows, right? But they're not. It's not like it's top of the fold. The initial lawsuit, top of the fold, right? Big news. If they cover the rejection at all, it's going to be sort of kind of hidden away. So I thought, okay, this is all performative, and this isn't a serious effort. He's just doing it for the grift. And whatever, it's if his people are stupid enough to send him money, that's their problem, not my problem. But the thing that gives me pause, Mark, is how he's been calling these state legislators in places like Pennsylvania, demanding that they throw out the election results and appoint electors to him. So there's part of him, and maybe all of him, that is actually thinks he should be president despite the results of the election. And that part is scary. And it's even scarier that very few Republicans have called it out and said, this is undemocratic. This is despotic behavior. And America is a democratic nation. We're proud of our democracy. We're proud of peaceful transfers of power, and we're not going to abide by that. And other than what, Mitt Romney, how many elected Republicans who aren't retiring? So like a Pat Toomey, he's out, right? He's quitting politics. He doesn't give a crap what people think. But how many of them that need to run for re-election in 2 years or even 4 years have said this has to stop in Congress? And I don't think any of them.
No.
I mean, Susan Collins just got reelected. She's got 6 years. So her, did Markowski? Maybe Markowski. Maybe.
I don't. It doesn't stand out if she has.
So, but Mitt Romney may be the only one of anybody who actually is facing reelection within 4 years, who from the beginning was unabashedly, said, and it's ironic, Mark, because we were talking when Mitt Romney ran for president, right? And we thought he was like the dredges Like he'd be the worst.
You and I were pretty hard on Mitt Romney.
And deservedly so. I'm not apologizing for it.
In fact, I think you coined the new term in our language, in the English language, asshat.
It wasn't me, but it was Daily Kos. It came out of Daily Kos.
Right.
That's right. That was Mitt Romney era, and I don't apologize for any of it. You know, everything we said was true, but when Mitt Romney ends up being like the reasonable wing of the Republican Party, and it's a wing of two people, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
so that's the part that's really sort of distressing, is that Republicans are willing to throw away our well-earned reputation as a Democrat, as a sort of an idealized Democratic nation, because they're so afraid of Donald Trump and his temper tantrum and his need. So again, at first I thought maybe it was performative and it was just about the grift, and that doesn't excuse it, but at least it has a certain logic to it. But now that he's been calling state legislators in places like Pennsylvania, demanding in Arizona that they overturn the will of the voter and give him the electoral votes anyway, is beyond the pale.
Yeah, they're not going to do that though, are they?
No, they're not, and they're not even allowed to. It violates state law. I mean, state law in those states very clearly. I mean, state legislators can determine how you apportion the electors, but they passed laws detailing that process. And in all of these states, like in Pennsylvania, the law is whoever wins the most votes gets the electors. That's state law. If they wanted to change that, they would have to pass a new law. And first of all, even I don't think that they would go that far. It's easy when you're in the Senate and it doesn't matter to, like, Donald, if you're Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham. It's another thing if you actually have to cast that vote that would actually undermine American democracy. And this is why you've seen, the governors, Republican governors in Arizona and Georgia, even though they're Trumpy as all heck. Mm-hmm. And in fact, they may be two of the three most Trumpy governors in all of America. The only other one is Abbott in Texas, right? DeSantis in Florida. Like, two of the four most Trumpiest Republicans are saying, like, no, there's nothing we can do, because there literally is nothing we can do. And they're not about to become the people who destroy American democracy. And so it's easy to talk a big game if you're Lindsey Graham. It's another thing if you actually have to vote to undermine that democracy. So, I mean, the governor in Pennsylvania is a Democrat anyway, right? So it would not happen in any scenario. Same thing in Michigan. Like, you'd have to pass a new law, and it's not going to happen. And they're not even trying, because they know the game's up.
Yeah. And if they were going to pass one, they would have probably had to have done it by now. Just for clarity, true. I doubt Mitt Romney will grant you or me an audience ever in life. We haven't
earned it.
we were pretty rough on that dude, and I can't help him. Like, then you guys call me an asshat. We did every week. But you said something interesting, Markos. You said that the minute he concedes, the money spigot is turned off. So shall I infer from that the money that they're raising now is under the auspices of the campaign and the FEC and all that?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but see, what they did is they've been raising money to fight, to fight the stealing of the election, right?
Right.
But from the beginning, the fine print said half of this money is going to go to general campaign expenses. Then about a week later, that number was bumped up to 75%. And I haven't looked since, but I wouldn't doubt it if it's now. We can spend the money however we want. Yeah. And you're not supposed to profit from that, right? So technically, Trump really couldn't take those hundreds of millions of dollars and use it to pay off his real estate debt. But does anybody really think that Trump is going to follow that law when he's followed zero laws? And so he pilfers his campaign, treasury, $400 million, pays off Deutsche Bank or whoever he owes that money to. We don't even know. The Russian mafia. And then what? The FEC is going to write a sternly worded letter. Who's going to sue? I don't even know who has standing to sue to say that Trump can't take that money, and the FEC can't do anything more than slap a fine, and it's 50-50 Democrats, Republicans. It's going to deadlock anyway because Republicans will cover for Trump. And so he can literally use that money for whatever the frick he wants, as far as he's concerned, I'm sure. And I don't see a mechanism to hold him accountable when we couldn't even enforce his, constitutional prohibition from profiting from the office, right? I mean, the what the clause? The name escapes me now because it was utterly. Emoluments, because it was utterly worthless.
Yeah,
there's no way to enforce it, and so the grift is strong. That money ensures for sure that the Republican Party doesn't go anywhere. That doesn't include Donald Trump. I mean, he is the undisputed leader of that party, and so once Biden takes office, I fully expect that it's not gonna keep going as strong as it is now, where there's a fiction that Trump may still win. But I don't doubt that it's going to keep raising money. I mean, if nothing else, conservatives know how to fleece their own. They've learned to do this over years.